Hi everyone, my name is Gautam Gupta and I want to welcome you all to my YouTube channel, Universal Fundamentals. In this video, I'm going to continue my series on the 2025 Vedic astrology yearly predictions for all of the 12 ascendants and moon signs and how these planetary transits will be affecting you based on your ascendant and moon sign. In this video, I will be talking about Cancer ascendants and moon signs. Now, 2025 is going to be a monumental year because all of the slower moving planets will be changing signs at some point in 2025. And this is going to bring huge shifts to everyone's life depending on what your ascendant and moon sign are. And when I talk about the slower moving planets, I am talking about the nodes Rahu and Ketu, Jupiter, as well as Saturn. All of these planets will be shifting signs in the coming year of 2025. And in fact, Jupiter will travel through three signs as it will be moving pretty quickly in 2025. Now, before I begin this discussion in detail, I do want to remind everyone to please check out my website, universal-fundamentals.com, where you can learn more about me and what I do as a Vedic astrologer. You can also check out the various services that I offer, and I will be leaving links down below so you all can check that out in more detail. I also want to remind everyone that I do practice sidereal Vedic astrology and not Western tropical astrology. Also, if you find this video to be helpful and useful, then please give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel. Doing so will really help me out with the YouTube algorithm so this video can reach a vast audience. So, with that being said, I will now begin discussing how all of these planetary transits will affect a Cancer ascendant and or moon sign for the year 2025. So the first important transit I want to start discussing for a Cancer ascendant and or moon sign is that transiting Saturn will continue to remain in your 8th house of Aquarius until March 29th of 2025. And this tells me that areas related to your joint assets, in-laws, inheritances, and or settlements will finally come to a resolution. You may get the closure and solutions needed to move forward, and this will feel extremely free and liberating to you. Now, with Saturn's third aspect to your 10th house, this does tell me that you will continue to put in a lot of extra effort within your career and workplace. If you are trying to achieve a certain level of recognition or fame, then you're going to have to apply extra effort in this area. Make sure you don't take any shortcuts during this transit, as things will not work in your favor if you do so. Make sure, however, that you do take all the necessary steps and precautions needed to be successful. And with Saturn's seventh aspect to your second house, this tells me that you will need to continue to apply diligence and discipline when it comes to handling your family life and financial matters. It will be important to stay on top and stay organized in your financial matters. Make sure you continue to budget wisely and avoid any unnecessary expenses. You may also continue to have some serious conversations regarding family matters, but they will be important to have for your own personal growth. And finally, with Saturn's 10th aspect to your 5th house, this tells me that there will continue to be karmic obligations related to your children and investments. You will have to put in a lot of effort in these areas in order to maintain good standing in these areas. Now, normally, Saturn's 10th aspect to the 5th house indicates challenges to that particular house. However, because transiting Jupiter in Taurus is also aspecting the 5th house, this is creating a point of manifestation. So therefore, you will continue to have opportunities to flourish in your 5th house matters regarding relationships with your children and speculative investments. This point of manifestation in your 5th house of Scorpio will continue until March 29th of 2025, which is when transiting Saturn will go into the sign of Pisces. Now, the next important transit I want to discuss for a Cancer ascendant and or moon sign is that transiting Jupiter will continue to remain in your 11th house of Taurus until May 14th of 2025. And a very important event that is occurring on February 4th of 2025 is that transiting Jupiter will be turning direct at 17 degrees of Taurus. So if you happen to have a planet that is around 14 to 20 degrees of either Taurus, Virgo, Scorpio, and or Capricorn, then you are going to have many blessings, successes, opportunities blossoming due to anything that you may have come up during the first 2 weeks of July 2024. This will be incredible for things related to your 11th house matters, such as your relationships with older siblings, friends, and social network circles. You may even have some major financial gains during this transit. This will also be beneficial for your third house matters, such as your relationships with younger siblings and neighbors. And if you're working on any short stories, articles, or social media projects, then these areas in your life will flourish and benefit you greatly. This will also be great for your seventh house matters, such as your relationships with either your significant other and or business partners, as well as your fifth house matters regarding your children and speculative investments. Now, another important transit I want to mention is that transiting Venus will be exalted in your ninth house of Pisces starting from January 27th of 2025 until May 30th of 2025. And while it is in the sign of Pisces, it will be forming a mutual exchange with transiting Jupiter, which is in your 11th house of Taurus up until May 14th of 2025. Now, the reason why I want to talk about Venus being in Pisces is because this is going to be a special transit for 2025. And this is because Venus normally stays in one sign for about a month. But this time, it will be staying in the sign of Pisces for about 4 months, which is due to the fact that transiting Venus will be turning retrograde from March 2nd, 2025 until April 14th of 2025. And while Venus remains direct in your ninth house, this will actually continue to enhance your financial situation even more. And this is because the ninth and 11th houses are extremely vital for financial luck and prosperity. And I think you're going to be extremely lucky financially while Venus is direct and is forming a mutual exchange with Jupiter between your ninth and 11th houses. This is also an excellent transit for connecting with your father and teachers. And any higher education projects or courses that you're working on during this transit will turn out very well and in your favor. This is also great for learning and obtaining spiritual knowledge, as well as traveling long distances. Now, one thing you have to be aware of is that Venus will turn retrograde from March 2nd of 2025 until April 14th of 2025. And this will be a transit where you have to exercise caution and care. You will have to be extremely careful when it comes to interacting with your father, teachers, friends, older siblings, and social network circles. There can be some disagreements which can cause some temporary discord within your dynamics. So it will be important to approach difficult conversations very carefully. You may also run into some temporary obstacles if you're traveling long distances while Venus is retrograde. So make sure you account for this in your itinerary and schedules. And if possible, try to avoid long distance traveling while Venus is retrograde. Now, while Venus is going to be in your ninth house of Pisces, it will be conjunct with Rahu in your ninth house. And Ketu is going to be in your third house of Virgo until May 29th of 2025. And this transit is going to prompt you to continue to focus on the dynamics between your father, teachers, higher education courses, spirituality, younger siblings, neighbors, as well as any projects related to your short stories, articles, and or social media projects. Now, an extremely important part about this transit is that starting March 29th of 2025, transiting Saturn will also join Rahu in your ninth house of Pisces, and this is going to really change things to a completely different level. And for the time being, you may be questioning a lot about your current spiritual beliefs and belief system overall. You may become more cynical than usual concerning your faith, and it is going to be important to stay grounded and true to yourself. This is especially a transit where you should not let anyone influence your beliefs unless you absolutely know that they have your best interests at heart. This is also a time where you can run into some obstacles when traveling long distance. So, if possible, try to avoid long distance traveling while Rahu and Saturn are both conjunct in your ninth house. There could be some issues and concerns regarding your father and teachers where you are seeing things from a different perspective. And any higher education courses you're involved in will take a lot of extra effort to succeed at this time. And the reason why the Rahu and Saturn conjunction in your ninth house will be a bit challenging is because Rahu is a planet that represents our impatience, wants, and desires, while Saturn is a planet that restricts and delays. So these two planets together will cause some temporary friction. But the good news is that once Saturn is all by itself in your ninth house of Pisces from May 29th of 2025 and onwards, a lot of the struggles related to your ninth house matters will become easier to manage. Now, with Saturn's third aspect to your 11th house, this tells me that you may have to put in a lot of effort in order to maintain a good relationship with your older siblings, friends, and or any groups or organizations that you're a part of. There can be a sense of disconnect at times, so open communication and understanding will be critical to making these relationships a success. But while Jupiter is in the 11th house until May 14th of 2025, I do see a certain amount of protection and growth when it comes to the dynamics between you and your friends, groups, organizations, and or older siblings. And this will be due to the fact that Saturn's third aspect to your 11th house and Jupiter transiting the 11th house of Taurus until May 14th of 2025 is providing a point of manifestation. So I do think just for that time frame, you will be protected regarding your 11th house matters. However, once Jupiter leaves the sign of Taurus, then you will have to be extremely careful when it comes to your interactions and dynamics with older siblings, friends, and your groups and organizations that you're involved in. Then, with Saturn's seventh aspect to your third house, this tells me that there might be some disconnect and issues concerning a younger sibling and or a neighbor. There could be a lot of issues that come up between you guys, and it will be important to foster open communication and understanding in order for things to be harmonious. You will also have to apply a lot of effort if you happen to be working on any short stories, articles, or social media projects in order to be successful. Now, the good news is that up until May 14th of 2025, Jupiter will also cast its fifth aspect to your third house. So you will have a good amount of protection and stability when it comes to your younger siblings, neighbors, and any projects related to your short stories, articles, or social media projects due to its point of manifestation. However, once transiting Jupiter leaves the sign of Taurus after May 14th of 2025, you will have to be extra careful when it comes to your third house matters. And finally, with Saturn's 10th aspect to your sixth house, this tells me that there could be some karmic obligations that you may have towards your coworkers and or employees. You may be working extremely hard with them regarding certain projects, so it will be important to be in good relations with them. And I do think you will be focusing a lot of your time on this area. Now, the good news is that after May 14th of 2025, transiting Jupiter will enter the sign of Gemini, which is in your 12th house, and it will cast its seventh aspect to your sixth house of Sagittarius, and this will create a point of manifestation. So while transiting Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, this will actually give you great opportunities to connect with coworkers and employees while working on these projects. You will also be doing well health-wise and find that you're spending more time with either your pets or small animals. This point of manifestation may even be a good time to adopt a new pet if that's what you want. Now, one thing I do want to mention about the Saturn transit in Pisces is that the Rahu and Saturn conjunction in the sign of Pisces will last from March 29th until May 29th of 2025. Then, after May 29th of 2025, transiting Saturn will remain in the sign of Pisces up until June 2nd of 2027. And then it will return back to the sign of Pisces from October 20th of 2027, and it will stay in the sign of Pisces until February 22nd, 2028. Now, the next important transit that I want to talk about is that transiting Jupiter will enter your 12th house of Gemini on May 15th, 2025, and it will go through the entire sign of Gemini throughout the next 5 months. So after October 18th, 2025, transiting Jupiter will briefly enter your first house of Cancer, but it will return back into the sign of Gemini on December 5th of 2025, and it will remain in your 12th house of Gemini until June 1st of 2026. And while Jupiter is in your 12th house of Gemini, this is going to open up many opportunities for foreign and international traveling, as well as a chance to resolve and reconcile any of your past issues that you want to heal from. And also, you will find yourself sleeping extremely well with this transit, which will allow your overall health to improve. These areas in your life are going to move forward very quickly since Jupiter will initially transit the entire sign within 5 months. And this will allow you to really get things done regarding your 12th house areas. Now, with Jupiter's fifth aspect to your fourth house, this tells me that you may be spending a lot of time with your mother and focusing on your real estate issues. You will be getting along quite nicely with your mother, and you will be able to resolve any outstanding conflicts very peacefully. This may be a good time to spend money on renovating your existing property or even moving into a bigger property. And for some of you, you may be thinking about purchasing a new car. Then, with Jupiter's seventh aspect to your sixth house, this tells me that you will be focusing on your health matters and on your relationships with coworkers and or employees. And for the most part, you will be getting along with them very well, especially due to Saturn's 10th aspect, which is creating a point of manifestation. You will also find that your daily routine will be stable and quite productive throughout this transit. And finally, with Jupiter's ninth aspect to your eighth house, this tells me that you will become very actively involved in subject areas related to astrology and numerology. And if these subjects don't interest you, then psychology will become more prevalent at this time. This is also a time where I see potential for joint assets to increase if you are married, and I do see some sources of unearned wealth coming your way through this aspect. You may also be interacting a lot more with your in-laws, and I do see you getting along with them with this aspect. Now, the next important transit I will be discussing for a Cancer ascendant and or moon sign is that transiting Rahu will be going into your eighth house of Aquarius, and transiting Ketu will be going into your second house of Leo on May 29th of 2025. And it is going to remain in these signs until November 24th of 2026. And this is going to create another big shift when it comes to your money, finances, family, joint assets, in-laws, and any inheritance or settlement matters. Now, with transiting Ketu into your second house of Leo, this tells me that you have got to take your money and financial matters a lot more seriously with this transit. I don't see any catastrophic events occurring, but you do have to make sure that you maintain a budget and don't overspend unnecessarily. Also, you may feel a sense of detachment and disconnect with your family members. If that's the case, then realize that this transit is giving you an opportunity to focus on your own personal growth. Don't be afraid to spend some time apart if necessary. Now, with Ketu's fifth aspect to your sixth house, this tells me that you will be taking a much more spiritual approach when it comes to interacting and connecting with your coworkers and employees. And this will help cultivate a deeper understanding with one another, especially since Jupiter in Gemini is also aspecting your sixth house as well until October 18th of 2025. Now, with Ketu's ninth aspect to your 10th house, this tells me that you may have some level of dissatisfaction within your career and workplace. Try to make the most out of the current situation because even if you do decide to change things up, you could end up in a situation where you still remain dissatisfied with your work and career. Things will take time, but as long as you exercise patience and perseverance, you will just be fine. Then, with transiting Rahu into your eighth house of Aquarius, this tells me that you are going to suddenly develop a huge interest in the metaphysical and or occult sciences. You will be attracted to things that are beyond this world, and this is going to captivate your attention throughout this transit. Also, if you are married, then this means that your in-laws might need more of your attention than usual, and joint assets will become a very important topic. So therefore, please continue to be transparent and honest with your financial dealings because there could be consequences for dishonesty at this time. And another important aspect about this transit is that while Jupiter is transiting through your 12th house of Gemini, transiting Rahu in your 8th house will be casting its fifth aspect to transiting Jupiter in your 12th house, and in return, transiting Jupiter will cast its ninth aspect to your 8th house of Aquarius, and this will be forming a mutual aspect. And they will both be aspecting your 4th house, which represents your domestic life, mother, real estate, and or vehicle matters. This means that there are going to be lots of opportunities for growth and expansion regarding your 4th house matters. So keep all of this in mind as you navigate this transit. Now, the final transit I want to discuss for a Cancer ascendant and or moon sign is that transiting Jupiter will briefly enter your first house of Cancer from October 18th of 2025 until December 5th, 2025. And it will turn retrograde on November 11th of 2025 at just under 1 degree of Cancer. So while Jupiter is transiting your first house during this short window of time, this is actually going to give you a preview as to what to expect when transiting Jupiter officially enters your first house of Cancer again later in 2026. So I want you to really pay attention to the events that do happen over the course of these 6 weeks because you will end up receiving the blessings and opportunities of these events in the summer of 2026 when Jupiter officially re-enters the sign of Cancer. So when Jupiter enters your first house of Cancer for these 6 weeks, you may be thinking about new beginnings and new opportunities that you become exposed to at this time. You will have an extraordinary amount of self-confidence, and you are going to feel extremely confident about these new beginnings and opportunities. However, because Jupiter will retrograde back into Gemini in December, you won't be able to fully embrace these new beginnings and opportunities until Jupiter re-enters the sign of Cancer during the summer of 2026. So keep this in mind as you go through this transit. Now, with Jupiter's fifth aspect to your fifth house, this will give you a preview of the types of interactions and connections that you will be forming with your children. This is also a great time to start looking into some potential speculative investments that you might be interested in. Then once Jupiter re-enters the sign of Cancer during the summer of 2026, you will have the chance to reap those rewards. And by then, you will also be forming an extremely strong connection with your children. Then, with Jupiter's seventh aspect to your seventh house, this will give you a preview of how your relationships between either your significant other and or business partners will play out. For some of you who are single, you may be introduced to a new business partner or significant other that can really change the course of your life in a positive way. And once Jupiter re-enters the sign of Cancer in the summer of 2026, you will officially form a positive connection. And finally, with Jupiter's ninth aspect to your ninth house, this will give you a preview of the types of interactions and connections you will be having with either your father and or teachers. You may even start thinking about taking some higher education courses, and this will be a good opportunity to research the best platform that can help you reach your goals. Then once Jupiter re-enters the sign of Cancer in the summer of 2026, you will be fully immersed and connected to these courses. This is also a great opportunity to learn and gather some exposure about different spiritual subjects. So this is what I wanted to cover regarding what's going to happen for a Cancer ascendant and or moon sign for the year 2025. I hope you guys got something out of this. Once again, if you found this video to be useful, please give it a thumbs up by hitting the like button. Doing so will really help me out with the YouTube algorithm so this video can reach a vast audience. Also, if you're new to my channel and would like to see similar videos like this in the future, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell notification. And if you would like to know more about me and what I do as a Vedic astrologer, then please check out my website, universal-fundamentals.com. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.